Despite years of investigation, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 remains an open case. One of the greatest mysteries in aviation history. Investigators have amassed a mountain of data, developed countless theories, and recovered partial evidence, but they still lack the one thing that matters most, the aircraft itself. Without the main wreckage, the definitive story of what happened on March 8, 2014 cannot be told, leaving crucial questions unanswered and families in a state of unending uncertainty. At the heart of this mystery are the missing black boxes. The cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder are engineering marvels, designed to withstand extreme crashes and immense pressure. They hold the objective truth, the final conversations in the cockpit, and the aircraft's last control inputs. But without locating the wreckage, these vital pieces of evidence have never been recovered. It's like trying to solve a puzzle with the most important pieces deliberately hidden. Investigators can only speculate about what those final moments were like for the pilots and passengers. One of the biggest challenges in the MH370 investigation is the lack of continuous radar coverage. We often think of the sky as being completely monitored, but the reality is very different. Large areas of airspace, especially over vast oceans, are not covered by primary radar. These are essentially blind spots. Once MH370 left civilian radar range and its transponder was turned off, the aircraft essentially vanished from human sight. It became a ghost, flying silently through the unmonitored night sky, leaving ground control with nothing but a fading blip and a profound sense of helplessness. What investigators did have was a faint digital whisper from a satellite. A series of automated handshakes between the aircraft and an Inmarsat satellite confirmed that the plane was still airborne for hours after it disappeared. But this system was never designed for precise aircraft tracking. It only confirmed that the plane's systems were powered on not its exact location, altitude, or direction. Using advanced mathematics, investigators were able to estimate wide arcs where the plane might have been at each handshake. But even the smallest assumption in their calculations could lead to huge uncertainties, creating a search area spanning thousands of square kilometers of unforgiving ocean. Years after the disappearance, a breakthrough seemed to arrive. Several pieces of aircraft debris began washing up on the shores of Africa and islands in the Indian Ocean. A flaperon found on Reunion Island was officially confirmed to belong to a Boeing 777, and its serial numbers were consistent with MH370. Other parts followed. This debris proved the flight ended in a crash in the Indian Ocean. But these fragments also raised new questions. They couldn't reveal how the aircraft came down. Was it a controlled ditching or a high-speed uncontrolled impact? Was someone flying the plane until the very end? The debris provided a partial answer but deepened the core mystery. So why has the main wreckage remained hidden? The southern Indian Ocean is one of the most remote, inhospitable, and least explored regions on Earth. We're talking about extreme depths reaching thousands of meters, a rugged mountainous seabed, and unpredictable, powerful currents. Searching this underwater landscape is like looking for a needle in a haystack in the dark. It's entirely possible that the aircraft lies just beyond the previous search zones, hidden in a deep trench or canyon, waiting for technology to catch up. The ocean is vast, and its secrets are. Investigators meticulously examined the human factors. They looked into the pilots' histories, the crew's behavior, and the aircraft's maintenance records. They searched for any sign of personal trouble, financial issues, or political motives. After exhaustive checks, no definitive evidence of wrongdoing or criminal intent was ever established. The final report concluded there was no basis to suspect the crew. However, investigators also had to acknowledge a difficult truth. Not all human decisions leave physical traces. A motive or a sudden act of will can't be found in a maintenance log. The why remains elusive. The disappearance of MH370 exposed a major, and frankly shocking, weakness in global aviation tracking systems. In 2014, it was standard practice for commercial aircraft not to transmit continuous position data over oceans. The system relied on pilots making regular radio check-ins. When those stopped, there was no automatic backup. The incident became a brutal wake-up call for the entire aviation industry, forcing a fundamental rethink of how commercial aircraft are monitored across the globe. A modern jetliner simply shouldn't be able to vanish. In the years since, significant changes have been implemented. New tracking standards now require aircraft to report their position more frequently. Enhanced satellite systems have been deployed, and airlines are adopting technologies that ensure a plane can be tracked even if its systems are manually disabled. The goal is simple: to make sure that no commercial aircraft can ever vanish without a trace again. The legacy of MH370 is a safer, more transparent sky for future generations of travelers. So, could MH370 still be found? The answer is yes. Technology is always advancing. Deep-sea mapping becomes more precise every year. Autonomous underwater vehicles are getting smarter and more resilient, and new methods of reanalyzing the original satellite data could narrow the search area. Private companies, like Ocean Infinity, have pledged to renew the search. It's not a matter of if, but when and who. For the families, hope for a discovery never fades. Until that day comes, the case officially remains open. But beyond all the theories, the data, and the technology, MH370 is, at its core, a human tragedy. 239 people, parents, children, friends, and loved ones, boarded a plane and never arrived. Their families have been left in a state of limbo, waiting not for sensational conspiracies, but for a simple, concrete truth. They deserve to know what happened to the people they love. Until the aircraft is finally found, the silence from the depths of the Indian Ocean remains the loudest, most painful answer of all. Thanks for watching. If you found this documentary informative, please consider subscribing for more deep dives into compelling stories.